Hi guys, welcome to Multiverse. DC Universe Online has added a few new layers in the game recently, and some of you guys seems to have questions about that, or seems to be a bit confused about that. So I'm going to try to explain at least a few things concerning the layers. So basically, if you're a legendary player, you have access to the Lair system with your subscription. But if you're a free-to-play player, odds are what you have access to is the dive, which you can see right here, right now. So this is most likely, if you're a free-to-play player or even a premium player, odds are what you have is the dive, which is also known as the small base. You're limited also in the amount of amenities you can have. You can have 1, 2, 3, 4. We can have 5 amenities in the dive, and obviously you can have up to 16 armories. And you can see the generator is on the same floor as the mainframe because there's only one floor, and it's not that small, but it is pretty small compared to the other layer. So this is the layer that free-to-play players have access to, or premium players if you do not have access to the layer system. Basically, if you do not purchase the layer system, this is the layer you have access to. If you did purchase the layer system, or if you are a legendary player, then you're going to have access to two other layers, the Gothic layer or the Deco layer. And you can see also the amenities like the teleporter, the amenities, they look exactly like the Deco layer. So don't be surprised if you get the Deco layer and you get that teleporter and those amenities. It's the very same thing you get. As you can see, this is the base of my Magneto character. This is the only layer this small. So there's only one dive layer, or one small layer, and it's the dive layer. Pretty much every other layer than the dive layer will have pretty much the same setup. All the layers pretty much have the same setup, which is pretty much the setup that most of you guys have seen. But just to be crystal clear, let's go around just a bit. So basically, we can have up to 10 amenities in our layer. We can have up to 16 armories. And it's the layer where you have basically the basement, the ground floor, and we do have a little extra room up here. So all the layers except the dive layer, the Atlantis layer, or the Brainiac layer have that very same setup. Also, this layer you can use it in PvP, as opposed to the Atlantis layer and the Brainiac layer, the new Brainiac layer and the Atlantis layer. For those two layers, you do not have access to PvP with those layers. And what I mean by that is that basically if you go into the on-duty menu, if we go to Arena PvP, you can see there's something that is called the Lair battles. So roughly whenever you try to cure for those, it's going to ask you to select your lair. So let's try that. So as you can see, even though my character has 4 layers, there's 2 of those layers that are not available. Like the Brainiac layer and the Atlantis layer are not available for the PvP layer battles. So in this case, I would have to use either my Gotham layer, which I use for training, or the layer you're seeing right now. So again, just to be crystal clear, I will show you another layer, my cave layer. Also, some of you guys sometimes ask, how was I able to get the Bat Cave as my layer? Basically, it's one of the layers you can purchase in the marketplace. There's a whole bunch of layers you can purchase in the marketplace. Let's take a quick look. Basically, as you can see, there's the 2 new layers, the Atlantean layer and the Brainiac layer. I'm going to take a look at those 2 layers in just a minute. But there's a whole bunch of other layers that you can get. You can purchase the sewer layer, the penthouse layer, the tech layer, the eastern layer, the industrial layer, the bunker layer, the ancient layer, and the cave layer. And the one we're in right now, that's the cave layer. So sometimes some of you guys will ask, how was I able to get the Bat Cave? That is how. I purchased the cave layer from the marketplace, and it gives me this pretty nice looking layer. And of course, all the Batman base items, I bought them from the marketplace. There's a few we can get in the game, like the Bat Signal actually comes from the Earth 3 DLC. But there's a whole bunch of them, like the playing card, some of the Bat computers, those come from the marketplace. The Batmobile, you probably saw the Batmobile here. So that comes from the marketplace. In the marketplace, there's a whole bunch of base items you can purchase, and there's a bundle for some Batcave base items and for some Flash base items. So again, here you can see there's the basement that I've showed you in my other lair. It looks a bit different because I've added a fake wall here, but it's pretty much the same setup. But sometimes the way you can decorate your lair, you can actually change the setup of your lair if you have some base items that you can use. Like here you can see I'm using the elevator doors as some sort of wall, and I'm using those, I think those are filing cabinets or medicine cabinets, I forget. And obviously here I've set up 2 sparring targets because I have 1 sparring target that I bought from the marketplace, and I have 1 sparring target that I gathered all 10 collections, and I was able to get that sparring target. With this character, I pretty much did that with all the amenities. I purchased them from the marketplace, but I also gathered the collections to be able to get them in my lair if I want to. So if I wanted to, I can have 2 sparring targets, or I can have 2 R&D vendor, or 2 respect station. Basically, I can have 2 of any of the amenities. So again, you have the basement, you have the ground floor, and you have the little room on top. And of course, here I have a really nice bat window with a bat signal in it. So all the layers are set up this way. And again, if you are a legendary player, or if you are a premium player who actually did purchase the lair system, I won't really relocate my base, but I'm going to show you. So as you saw, this is the dive that I showed you earlier. And again, if you are a premium player that purchased the lair system, you get the Gothic lair and you get the Deco lair. The same with legendary players. Legendary players get those 2 lairs as well. And of course, you can set up all your lairs in Gotham or Metropolis, and there's various places for each lair. And of course, depending on where you want to set up your lair, you may have to spend some cash, or you may even have to spend some cash and some marks of victory for certain for placing your lair in certain places. And of course, here we have the Atlantean lair that was added not too long ago. One of the questions that people had was, how did you get an extra room? Basically, the Atlantean lair and the Brainiac lair have an extra room here that the other lairs do not have. And that's pretty much the reason why we cannot use this lair in PvP. Because I guess they're trying to be fair or something, and they want everyone in PvP to be able to have the same lair when they fight each other. So I suppose they think it would give an unfair advantage to people if they could have this lair somehow. And you can see here the area here is a little bigger than with some of the other lairs. So the lair are somewhat slightly bigger. You still have the room on top, as you can see. You still have the little basement. But again, the rooms over here where you can place your amenities, they are a bit bigger. The lair also seems bigger thanks to some of those windows. It kind of gives the illusion that the lair is a bit bigger. But again, in some places, it is a bit bigger. Like this room here, much bigger than most other lairs. It's not a huge difference when it comes for those rooms, but when you have a lot of base items, every inch helps. This is probably one of the like you can see here underwater. But here you also have those big windows, which again kind of give the illusion that the room is a bit bigger than it actually is. So if you were wondering how come I had an extra room, that is why I did purchase the Atlantean lair, and the Atlantean lair does have an extra room, and it's a pretty big room, and so you can put in some pretty big base items if you like. And let's go take a look at the Brainiac lair. So again, here we have the Brainiac lair. It's pretty much, it's very similar than the Atlantis lair. Although you can see here the room here, it's pretty much as small as most other lairs. So the only real thing that's bigger here is that we have that extra room that most layers don't have. So again, you can see the ceiling is pretty high, and we don't have the windows that we have the windows that the Atlantean layer has, but it doesn't feel as if you're looking outside, so it doesn't give the illusion that the room is bigger. So even though I pretty much suspect that this is the exact same size as the other room in the Atlantean layer, it doesn't feel as big somehow. And of course, as you can see, I filled it up with my 16 armories. Basically, when they gave us the option to be able to have 16 armories, the way the layers were set up, they were never really meant for that, I guess. So we didn't really have room to put all 16 armories in one room. Well, we could do it, but it felt cramped a bit. Like basically, I was using this room to have my 16 armories, and one of my other layer. And it did work, but it felt very, very confined. So again, you can see, and of course you can recreate smaller rooms within the lair if you like. Like here, this is my treasure room, I guess, where my Mixus Spitalik is guarding my gold. And again, you have the room upstairs, same as pretty much every lair. And if you're wondering why my amenities look like that, basically I've added some Brainiac base items on top of my amenities to decorate them a bit or disguise them. And while we're here, I may as well show my Moebius chair. I love this chair. I probably should have bought more on the broker when I had the chance. Next time. Here we have the Alexander Luthor ship. You can see I have a few Brainiac base items. Some are pretty big, as you can see. I have a billion TVs, of course. And here we have our all basement level, which I've set up with a sparring target. This is my little crafting station. You can see a whole bunch of Star Labs base items from the anniversary event. And here you can see some Flash base items. Again, as I mentioned, there's some Batman base items you can purchase from the marketplace. There's some Flash base items you can purchase. And there's also a whole bunch of base items that have nothing really to do with Flash or Batman. And I guess the base items, like the Flash or the Batman base items, did not sell so well because they didn't add any afterwards. But also we thought the same thing about the various layers. And but I guess they still decided to give it a try with the Brainiac lair and the Atlantean lair. So hopefully we are going to get more lair in the future. Let's hope. I'm hoping that maybe we could get some, I don't know, Teen Titans lair or Legion of Superheroes lair. I forget what else. Maybe a Justice Society lair. Who knows. So that is pretty much it for now, I suppose. So again, you can see some of the Flash base item, some more Exobyte base item from the anniversary event. I'm still in the process of decorating my lairs. Obviously, basically when they added the Atlantean lair, I went into a whole. Crypto is having fun. I went into when they added the Atlantean lair, I pretty much redecorated all my bases, and then they added the Brainiac lair, which made me go through the process again. So I'm still in the process of decorating my lair, but I'm getting there slowly. I mean, we can see our friend Crypto. He seems very happy about that. Oh, let's call him here. Good Crypto. So basically we have the dive, which is the smaller layer. Then we have pretty much every layer that has the same size, other than the Atlantean layer and the Brainiac layer. So the dive is the small one, every other layer is the same, and then we have the Atlantean and Brainiac, which are bigger than the rest. So that's pretty much it for now, I suppose. So if you guys have any more questions about the layers, feel free to ask so in the comment section down below, and I'll see what I can do about answering your questions. So as always, guys, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.